5 most brutal executions in human history. Think you know what humans are capable of? Think again. After this video, you'll never look at history the same way. What I'm about to show you isn't just about death, it's about the moment when creativity meets cruelty, and the results are so horrifying they've shaped entire civilizations. But here's what'll really mess with your head. Some of these people survived, and their survival changed everything. Are you ready to discover what happens when the human spirit refuses to break, even when the body is being torn apart piece by piece? We're counting down 5 execution methods so brutal they redefined human suffering. From number 5 to number 1, each story gets more intense, more personal, and more impossible to forget. These aren't just historical footnotes. They're moments that created religions, sparked revolutions, and proved that sometimes the greatest victories come from the darkest defeats. By the end of this video, you'll understand why these methods were banned, why they're remembered, and why some people chose them willingly.
5. The rat torture. Rats as instruments of torture? Sounds ridiculous, right? But these small creatures became the key to an entire nation's freedom. Let me tell you how. At number 5, we have the rat torture, a method that sounds almost cartoonish until you realize it actually worked. Our victim, Diederik Sonoy, a Dutch rebel who refused to betray his countrymen to Spanish forces in the 16th century. Picture yourself strapped down, completely helpless. A heated metal bucket filled with frantic, hungry rats is placed on your chest. As the bucket gets hotter, the rats become desperate. Sonoy himself said, "I would rather die 1,000 deaths than betray my people." He was about to discover what that actually meant. As the metal burns, the rats have only one escape route: through your flesh. They claw, bite, and literally eat their way to freedom through your body. Every scratch, every gnaw, fully conscious. And here's the mind-bending part. When it seemed like his body couldn't take anymore, his spirit remained unbroken. He survived.
Sonoy's survival became a symbol of Dutch resistance. His scars were proof that Spanish torture couldn't break the human will. The story of the rat torture, it's not just about suffering. It's about 16th century psychological warfare that backfired. We must remember this because it shows how far oppression will go and how far freedom will fight back. Number 4. Scaphism, the boats. What if I told you the most peaceful-sounding execution method was actually the most horrifying? The boats weren't for sailing, they were for dying slowly. Number 4 brings us to ancient Persia and scaphism, the boats. This was reserved for the ultimate crimes, and our victim, Mithridates, had committed the ultimate mistake, accidentally killing the heir to the Persian throne. Stripped naked, trapped between 2 boats like a human sandwich, with only his head, hands, and feet exposed. Then comes the truly diabolical part. Force-fed milk and honey until his body betrayed him with uncontrollable diarrhea. The honey attracted every insect in the area. For 17 days, 17 conscious days, Mithridates was eaten alive by flies, wasps, and maggots breeding in his own waste. Plutarch wrote the victims were devoured alive by worms breeding in the corruption of their own excrement. And yet, when his body was failing, his mind remained aware. He spoke to his captors until day 16. 17 days of conscious torture. Mithridates' story isn't just about Persian cruelty. It's about human endurance that defies understanding. We remember this not to glorify suffering, but to understand that consciousness can survive when the body cannot. Number 3, breaking on the wheel. Imagine being accused of killing your own child, knowing you're innocent, but facing a punishment that will break every bone in your body. That's exactly what happened to our next victim. Number 3 takes us to 18th century France and the breaking wheel. Johannes Calas, a Protestant merchant, was falsely accused of murdering his son to prevent a religious conversion. His final words, "I die innocent of the crime imputed to me." Tied spread eagle to a massive wooden wheel, Calas faced systematic bone breaking with a heavy iron bar. Arms, legs, ribs, every major bone shattered while keeping him conscious. This wasn't about quick death. It was about methodical destruction of the human frame. 2 hours of calculated torture, each blow designed to maximize pain while prolonging life. But when his body was breaking, his dignity remained intact. Witnesses reported he never screamed, never begged, never confessed to a crime he didn't commit. Calas's death sparked something unprecedented. Voltaire himself took up his cause. 3 years later, Calas was posthumously exonerated. His torture became the catalyst for French legal reform and the eventual abolition of judicial torture. The breaking wheel story isn't just about medieval brutality. It's about how one man's suffering became a nation's awakening. We remember because injustice, when witnessed, demands change.
2. Ling Chi, death by 1,000 cuts. What's worse than dying quickly? Dying one small piece at a time, fully conscious, for hours. Meet the method that turned execution into a public art form. Number 2 brings us to Imperial China and Ling Chi, death by 1,000 cuts. This wasn't just execution. It was performance art designed to terrorize entire populations. The victim was tied to a post in a public square, while an executioner, trained like a surgeon, made precise cuts designed to cause maximum pain while avoiding vital organs. The goal was to keep the victim conscious for as long as possible while slowly dismantling their body. What makes this even more disturbing is the precision required. Executioners studied anatomy to perfect their craft. Some victims reportedly remained conscious for over an hour, experiencing every cut, every slice, while crowds watched in horrified fascination.
This method was used for over 900 years before being banned in 1905. The psychological impact on witnesses was as important as the physical impact on victims. Ling Chi reminds us that sometimes the cruelest punishment isn't private, it's public spectacle designed to break the spirit of everyone watching. Number 1, crucifixion upside down. Our number 1 spot goes to a method so brutal that its most famous victim actually requested it. St. Peter chose to die upside down, and that choice changed the world forever. When Roman Emperor Nero sentenced Peter to crucifixion in 64 AD, Peter made an extraordinary request to be crucified upside down because he felt unworthy to die like Jesus Christ. The Romans were happy to make his death even more agonizing. Peter didn't understand the physiological nightmare he'd chosen. Inverted crucifixion causes blood to pool in the head, creating excruciating pressure while extending consciousness. Regular crucifixion victims might lose awareness relatively quickly. Inverted victims stayed awake much longer. 8 to 10 hours of conscious agony. But in those final hours, Peter transformed from the man who once denied knowing Jesus into the foundation of Christianity. His willingness to endure greater suffering than necessary became the cornerstone of religious faith for billions. Peter's inverted crucifixion isn't just about Roman cruelty. It's about choosing your own suffering to prove a point. His death became the rock upon which the world's largest religion was built. If you made it this far, you're already stronger than most people. Think about it. What would you do in their place? Would you break? Would you survive? Would you become a symbol? These 5 methods reveal something profound about human nature, our capacity for unimaginable cruelty, but also our incredible ability to transcend suffering and inspire change. Sonoy's defiance freed a nation. Mithridates endured the impossible. Calas's dignity reformed justice. Peter's choice created a religion. The lesson? No matter how dark human creativity becomes, the human spirit has an even greater power to overcome, to inspire, and to transform tragedy into triumph. If this video changed how you see human resilience, smash that like button and tell me in the comments, which story shocked you most? And which person do you think showed the greatest strength? Subscribe and hit that notification bell because you need to see what's coming next. In our next episode, stories of people who were already being buried alive, but they stood up, walked away, and changed the course of history forever. You won't believe what happened next.